The left does not mind at all dishing it out. But the moment the president or any conservative ribs them, or even themselves for that matter, self-deprecating, there's immediate blowback. What am I talking about here? Movie stars, sports celebrities, television actors, they shoot their mouths off on politics and public affairs all the time. It's like reflexive, they can't help themselves. And we're supposed to react as if Plato himself had come back to opine on contemporary issues. Like, oh, thank you for your commentary. It's so well informed. Look, everybody has the right to speak his or her mind, of course. And they're welcome to come on this show anytime. But just because you are a celebrity or get paid millions of dollars to play a game doesn't mean you get a free pass to offer illogical arguments, avoiding substance, and just engage in drive-by media attacks. And you don't get to do that with impunity. And if you do that, you shouldn't be taken seriously. In case you hadn't heard, I wrote a best-selling book 15 years ago called Shut Up and Sing. I went after leftists such as Barbra Streisand, the Dixie Chicks, love their music, Michael Stipe, love his music, and a bunch of other celebrities who love to opine on politics. I routinely call out these elites who feel like their celebrity in one arena gives them political authority and heightened credibility to speak on all these complex issues of the day. Last week, we at the Ingram Angle caught Barbra Streisand in a little bitty lie. She claimed to Variety that the presidential election was rigged and that she had spoken to, quote, senators from Wisconsin and Michigan, close quote. Well, no one bothered to call up the 4 senators from those 2 states, but our producers did. We called both the Wisconsin senators, who told us they did not speak to Barbra Streisand and certainly said nothing about election fraud. Oops. Now, even former NBA star Kobe Bryant, a phenomenal basketball player for the Lakers, somehow won an Academy Award at the Me Too Oscars for a small animated film he made about basketball. Well, that's kind of fun. Well, there is now an online petition with over 16,000 signatures and counting to rescind Bryant's Oscar owing to, I guess, a rape accusation in 2003 by a 19-year-old woman. They ultimately didn't bring the charges. He settled the civil case with her. The accuser refused to testify before they went to trial, and so eventually he did away with the suit by, I guess, settling the civil claim. But Kobe's was just one of the many awkward Oscar moments that were kind of far from funny and even repellent to the American public. Host Jimmy Kimmel, in his opening monologue, referenced this film, Call Me By Your Name, a Best Picture nominee. And the film was about a 24-year-old man who has intimate relations with a 17-year-old boy.
We don't make films like Call Me By Your Name for money. We make them to upset Mike Pence.
Okay, well, actually, you might not thrill the American people either, who saw few of the art house films celebrated at this tedious Tinseltown love fest last night. Jimmy Kimmel's Oscars fell to a 9-year viewership low last year in 2017. But this year, I've got to say, Jimmy, you outdid yourself. He presided over the lowest rated Oscars ever. I say nothing says happy 90th Oscar like a 20% drop in your lousy ratings from last year. 3 cheers. But let's face it, these people are fanatics, so they don't care.
Dreams are the foundation of America.
And to all the dreamers out there, we stand with you.
Marginalized people deserve to feel like they belong. Representation matters.
Who are more marginalized, by the way, in Hollywood than conservatives? Oh, a Christian conservative. Is anyone more marginalized than someone who actually voted for Trump and works in a major film? Come on. These people are just complete phonies. Hollywood, sports figures, all these people have one job, And this is why they get paid a lot of money, and good on them if they do get paid a lot of money and they're good at it. They entertain us. But instead, as we saw last night, they give us like bizarre political lines or storylines or characters that most Americans can't really relate to. And then meanwhile, Hollywood ends up attacking a lot of the values and ideas that millions upon millions of Americans hold dear. And then when they're criticized, they cry like infants being weaned, which makes sense since many of the celebrities are used to feeding off their sycophantic staff and media enablers. They're not used to criticism. Perish the thought. All of this is a big turnoff, though, to the audience. And they have a lot of options to choose from these days, don't they? And if you want to know why these celebrities are so nasty to the president and so upset when he or any conservative dares to crack a joke, well, I have an answer. For all their vitriol and all their bile directed at conservatives and the president, you know what he keeps doing? Put it in a language that everybody understands here. He keeps putting points on the board for America, the American worker. And our audience is growing, while the Oscars audience is tanking. Now that's what I call funny. And that's the angle. Joining us now for a reaction in West Palm Beach, Florida, is best-selling author Ann Coulter, and in New York, Kathy Rue, who is publisher of Catalina magazine. It is great to have two smart women on this show. All right, Kathy, have at the angle, have at me. I'm sure you disagree with some of the things I said.
No, not a word. Not a word.
Oh, I love you anyway. You're awesome.
Okay, but it wasn't a love fest. You said it's usually a love fest. So this year it wasn't just a love fest. It was beyond the lip service. It was beyond the patting on the back. And Hollywood got real. So they were as real as what's happening outside. So for 90 years, they've left everything that's real, everything that's uncomfortable on the outside of the theater. And this year they brought it in. And if a little bit of America was uncomfortable, so be it. That's the way movements start. That's the way they continue. And that's how things change. I consider it progress. And good for Hollywood. They got real.
It's an all-time low in viewership for the Oscars.
Award shows are low.
Do we watch films and the Oscars for them to opine on politics? I mean, I'm not saying some of the really smart people out there, but I think most people just want to release from the nasty left-right, which, look, I'm sure we're part of it, but I think people want entertainment to escape some of it at least. And I think when these actors and celebrities just marinate themselves in politics, I mean, you can watch us, you can watch other networks for that. And I know you were glued to your television set last night. I have to say, I didn't watch 1 millisecond of the Oscars. I had a kid with the flu and went to bed early, but go ahead.
Fantastic. We have the perfect panel to discuss the Oscars because I didn't even know they were on and didn't watch them. However, I did have a friend from the industry calling in like every half an hour to give me the political updates. And I did look up a few videos later. So I do, I am an expert now. And one thing that was funny about it is, I mean, this was supposed to be the big Me Too Oscars, but it very quickly went off the rails. And, all these women who've been raped and pawed and had their careers destroyed, like Mira Sorvino. I mean, she's a real hero who should have been celebrated. No, that was pushed aside so we can talk about transgenders and illegals and immigrants. And intersectionality. We got intersectionality in there. And as for your opening statement, no, you're giving most celebrities, I think, really fantastic advice, and they can take it from people like us. I had an actor sort of making fun of me once, a very famous actor whom I won't name, and sneering at me because people come up to me on the street and say mean things to me. And I said, yeah, everybody says nice things to you. They're talking about your character. At least when people love me, it's really me they love. But you and I, and I guess all three of us, I'm sorry, I don't know you, Kathy, but you're in politics. If you're in politics, you're going to have half the country hate you. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you're a skier, like someone I used to love, Lindsey Vonn, haha, I was so happy when she lost, or, you know, these actors and actresses, you can have the whole world love you. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, but
why do you bother leaping out and taking a political position, ticking off half of the country?
But it's admirable. They're choosing to do so, which is admirable. They're no longer just giving, like I said, the lip service. We can't criticize them anymore for just hiding behind their characters. They're showing we are intelligent. We're not directors. Look at all these roles. Look at what we can do. And they had the women stand up, and they did explain each role that women play behind the cameras that, I mean, most Americans aren't aware of. I think we're just aware of it. Yeah.
Kathy, do you think most Americans care about the gender or the race or the ethnicity of the cinematographer? Don't they just care about whoever makes it and whoever's great at it? That's
that's
awesome.
the beauty of it.
Aren't we supposed to not care about gender? And I'm really confused because
I
thought we were supposed to get away from gender, race, and sexual. Everyone's the same. Now everybody's not the same.
No,
and
that's
we have to bean count in every profession. And heaven forbid you're a white male and you're a cinematographer because you must have totally screwed someone over to get your job. I'm sorry to be harsh there, but I think if you're a white male in Hollywood, you probably have a target on your back, given the atmosphere out there, which I think sometimes doesn't give due process to people. Poor Ryan Seacrest. I mean, I don't even know Ryan Seacrest, but he was like the persona non grata last night after decades that Harvey Weinstein was destroying people's lives is all somehow washed away.
No, I don't want to move on from this point that this is the year of Me Too. I mean, a lot of very important people. And some were heroes like Brad Pitt, who stood up to Weinstein on behalf of Gwyneth Paltrow. And again, Mira Sorvino had her career destroyed. It's very strange that they just go off into all the politically correct stuff. I thought that was a lovely acceptance speech, and I'd like to contrast it with Guillermo del Toro's, who talked about how we have to have a borderless world, and I'm from Mexico, but there is no border. Well, except the important point is he didn't mention that the reason he didn't go back to Mexico for 15 years was that his father was kidnapped and held for ransom for several years until he got someone to provide $1 million. So he'd better hope that wall gets built. He won't go back to Mexico now, moved his whole family here. Maybe truth in advertising. And I just want to say quickly about what Catherine said. No, they are not showing their intelligence. They are showing they are bimbos.
All right. Both of you are smart women, very accomplished in your own right.